we're kind of free range on this today. We're not going to have a
We
big
are.
interview or MC or anything like that. It's more of a conversation. But in our earlier conspiracy on how we're going to do this, we were conspiring on making sense of this. Was each one of us maybe start out and just share
Mhm.
our coaching journey, when we began, our coaching practice, what where we trained, and like that, and maybe even when you joined GCA, if you can remember. So
All
Harry,
eyes are looking at you, Harry. I think you
yeah,
really should. You are the elder of our tribe, the co-founder, along with Dave Allen, Alan Seward, and beloved Michael Cohen, who gracing us with his presence today.
Well, thank you. I never joined the GCA. This is what happens when you create something.
Alan, get his money now.
he's an owner.
I didn't join, and Michael didn't join, and Alan, yes, Alan joined because it was 2 years after we started. I'm paying attention in the back of my mind to Monica, because she's on this call and she wants to know how we did this, perhaps. And I want to say, if you agree to a monthly call with a group of people for 16 years, something will happen. You have to stay in one place and keep on doing it. And I do want to wish her every success in starting a coaching organization for lesbians. I think we would all stand and take up notice to a powerful organization like that.
Yes.
And Michael and I and two other guys were sitting in a corner of Easton Mountain in 2004, and in those days the Body Electric was going, and people were very enthusiastic about doing something, getting together, group. We didn't have social media at that time. So this is kind of like an organization founded at the end of an era and going into the beginning of another. We decided to start this, and it's outlined in the article I wrote for the book about the history of our organization. And we were naive, but we were very heartfelt and enthusiastic. And we said, oh, we'll get a website. So we hired Alan to make a website, and for 2 years, nothing happened. So we thought, people would be joining us, and nothing happened. So we reformed with Michael and Alan and Dave Allen and me. The original members decided to drop it. So we conducted business, and we decided to have a conference. And one of the first members that I recall joining was Tim. Tim was a member very close to the beginning. And I remember meeting Garry at our first conference. And I think Dave Allen is the one who found Garry.
No, Timmer.
Tim, okay. Yeah, so we got Tim involved because Tim knew how to do a conference. We didn't know how to do it. Yeah, Tim and Terry Hildebrand, our former member, he's still a member, a board member. We decided to do a conference, and the guy said, well, why do we have to do a conference? What's the purpose? I said, I don't know. I just know if you imagine that room full of 30 gay coaches, something is going to happen. And that all my wisdom took me to was that putting them in a room, I didn't know what would happen. And you were there and you saw what happened. We looked around and we said, as somebody on the call said, first of all, I had no idea there were such different ways of coaching. And then I had no idea so many different kinds of people would join this organization. That diversity among ourselves is really exquisite. And we've had a chance to observe that and appreciate it. And we, as I said before, with reference to Monica, we just were on a monthly call all the time, talking about what we're going to do, good ideas, not good ideas, try something and stop trying it. And then for various reasons, we decided to incorporate, because some of us who were old had a conversation that went something like this. Well, what are we going to do? What's going to happen to it when we're gone? And there was no it. There was just a bunch of guys on a conference call. There was no organization. So with Terry's help, we formed a body, a corporation. And that is going to continue, it looks like, for, long after I'm gone and other people. And it's very gratifying and inspirational to me to look at you guys on the call and be very satisfied. It couldn't have been better, and it is better, rather. It could have been better, and it is better because you are all here. So I'm very grateful, and I don't want to take up more time. Let's hear from you two.
Oh, Harry, I could listen to you the whole time. It wouldn't bother me at all. You have such a place in our hearts of everything you've done, all the people that you've invited, never mind how we got there. Every time I talk to somebody at the conference, it's like, oh yeah, Harry was telling me I should be here. Harry was telling me this. Harry was telling me that. It's like, is that all he does, is recruit people?
I'm very annoying.
In a loving way,
Yeah. Well, I wouldn't have come when I did if Harry hadn't asked. And I mean, his whole thing in life is don't ask, don't get. Ask people, invite them. People are waiting to be asked, and he's right. And I didn't know I was one of the first ones. Okay, yay, that's great.
How did you get to be such a conference maven?
I was working in corporate life, and I got into the diversity and space. And so I started going to a lot of conferences. And then when I left that and went and trained to be a coach and got certified, I went CTI, as you two also are, CTI, co-active coaches. And then meeting Terry, and we partnered and we went to things together as coaches, like the out and equal, the gate in GLCC, some other things like that. And just kind of got into doing it. It was a business building thing. It was also, I was going from corporate PR guy to professional coach, and no one knew me like that. So I was having to kind of start over again, which was not only very painful and slow. So conferences were part of the strategy. And we just picked up some things along the way that seemed to have worked for us at the GCA conference. And so it's all good. It's all to the good. And Garry was he was there for the first one, and he and Choice were all in on being sponsors. And they've, of course, done this now for many years. They've been, not only he's a loyal member, but also sponsor of our conferences and things like that. And so also let me brag on Garry too, and that he has this awesome magazine. He really kind of like the book. It's the only one that's really like that. Yes, he just happened to have a copy.
Bravo! I just happen to have one everywhere I go.
Yeah,
every purse I own has one of these in it.
Well, you just can't have it, without it. So he is, generously invited several or anyone to consider writing for them. And so several of us have been published on this international coaching magazine. And it adds to our portfolios. It helps him out in getting content. And it's something, an opportunity, something that wouldn't have happened if not for the, the synchronicity of GCA and things happening and getting together. It's amazing when we start building this kind of community and relationships and network. I've gotten, not only have I got clients from the GCA Coach Finder website, a few clients from that, but I've also gotten work from it. I've gotten referrals from that. I worked with I hired Jeff as a supervisor, and I work with Harry as a coach. And so we help each other out. And it's a very generous group, and it's an important group to me. It fulfills, it's a professional group, and it also fills a place that we giggle about it. It's not ICF. ICF is awesome, but it's not everything. And
man, is it not?
Yeah.
Gary's the one who made us international. He
Yeah.
the first one. Yes.
And see where it's gone from there. We've got members all over.
As my friend John O'Brien, new member, says, now begins the Canadian reign of terror. And I'm like, how do you put the word Canadian in anything with terror? I don't know.
Yeah.
It's like just,
Sorry.
Yeah, ain't gonna happen.
Yeah. Well, he's a gentle tyrant.
Well, let me pick up from there. So first of all, thank you. Thanks to everyone that's been contributing to Choice Magazine. Yes, I remember you and Terry were thick as thieves in writing articles for Choice. And there were some times when I was looking through it at the table of contents and going, is this a gay magazine? Because there was Jeff Bates and there was Terry and there was Tim and there was, it's like, so thank you, and continue. Reach out to me if you do want to write for Choice. And it's a huge marketing opportunity for yourselves as well. So I remember going to that first conference, and one of my first questions, I think, was to you, Harry, was, so why don't we let other people in here? And you've, in your absolutely fabulous way, said, because it would change it. It wouldn't be the same. And what I remember was, it's and sorry, Monica, we're gonna keep picking on you, okay? But it's like, if we have a whole bunch of gay guys in a room and the lesbian walks in, the energy in the conversation shifts. We might be more careful, considerate, that sort of thing. And by the end of the conference, I'm like, this was my tribe. And so Matthew, I'm really sorry that you didn't let me pick that one, because that's my number one right now in life, is the Gay Coaches Alliance. Tim invited me there. I got to the first conference. I think all three of us have been to all of them. Kind of hard for Harry to get away, because we'll go to his cabin and drag him in. And I think one of the key words I think I didn't realize until you said it was, it's a very generous group. And one of my values is generosity. And so being a part of this group that is generous and allows me to honor my value of generosity. How I got to the board, well, and you already said CTI, so we got all that covered. I got to the board was because Michael Cohen, who is here today, was stepping down. And I was asked to replace and finish his shift. And then I was asked to stay on after his shift was over and my shift started, so to speak. And then Tim became the first president after Harry. And then he asked the board who wanted to be president. And we had a great conversation. And I said, sure, I'll take it on. And I just want to say that it's again, Monica, it's like, these guys started, well, Harry and Michael and them started this thing from an idea and just kept at it. And it's not like we have we ever done a strategic plan? Like, not really. We're somebody said this in some conversation about the coaching profession. We're riding a wave. We're not reacting, but we're not really proactive, and yet we are, because here we are, just like a year ago, Alan, what was it, 46 members a year ago, a little more than a year ago?
Yeah, hard to believe,
Now,
huh?
right, and now we're at 150. So in 1 year, we've tripled our membership. I think that's just bloody amazing. And oh, there we have them. Look at, there's Dave Allen. And oh, a little
I had to
prelude
pop that
there.
up. Sorry.
Wow, a flashback.
Yeah,
Original logo.
2007.
Wow.
Wow.
Wow, history.
In 2019, there were a group of board members who had the very brilliant idea to hire conference planners for 2019 or 2020. And we hired, who did we hire?
Chris Cooper
Chris
and
and Keith.
Peter Simmons.
And
Shane.
Shane. And
Oh,
they
right. Yeah.
planned the conference. And it, like another decision, Alan helped make a decision about having 3 layers of membership so that it would be more affordable. That helped increase the numbers of our membership. And also, these guys planned a conference that didn't happen alive, it happened on Zoom. And then, because they were brilliant, they planned a winter conference. Then they planned the next conference. So during that time is when our membership doubled, so that we had people from all over the world calling in on those calls. And it's extraordinary. We talked about how to increase membership, and the only thing that seemed to work was Alan's strategy. But then this COVID is responsible for our doubling our membership.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. And to be clear, we hired 3 members to do this, to do the conference, but not for a lot of money. It's more like kind of more like a stipend.
Stipend, that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that kind of sanitizes it a bit. We because they're providing an amazing, wonderful service, and I still marvel at the last conference, the in-person one. We finally got together again in May. Fantastic, and it wasn't as big as we wanted it to be. I mean, we had COVID was still and still is, but was still kind of playing hell with that, and people were not traveling as much. It was amazing. It was such a great conference, well run, well organized. Content was fantastic, as good as anything I've seen at ICF or other coaching conferences. And it's so gay.
So gay, yes.
It's so gay, and it's just fantastic. So
Yeah. Well, and to membership as well. And again, it's just the whole murder of George Floyd brought us all aware to be more proactive on diversity, equity, and inclusion. And about 1.5 years ago, we created a Diversity, Equity, Inclusion Council. And fast forward, the E in there is what had us set up the sponsorship, was because that we wanted to make it equitable and easy. What is it? The democratization of membership. And also Tim and I so I don't know if you know this, Harry, but Tim and I kind of, we transitioned roles by working on the bylaws. And one of the pieces that was included in the bylaws is we've enshrined a statement about diversity, equity, inclusion, and what we stand for at the Gay Coaches Alliance in our bylaws. And, so these are, things happen because there's an energy. Things continue because there's energy and interest. And when you started, Harry, it was the conference monthly meetings. Now we have a membership committee, a finance committee, DEI and B, council, which includes a welcoming committee. We have a marketing committee, a program committee. That's for the monthly programs. Conference committee, I said already, something like that, like about 5 main and 2 subcommittees. Oh, the newsletter is a committee, but we're hoping that they'll take it over at the marketing committee. But that's kind of how things go, right? It's like, where's the energy? But personally, I live with the thought that if there's no energy for it, we just won't do it. And that's just what's meant to be. It's one of the reasons when I was president of the ICF in Toronto, that the conference was going to die. Our annual conference, we had a local annual conference and there was no interest in it. And I nudged my vice president. I said, well, what if we did it? And so we did it for a couple of years and it was a blast. We loved doing it. We worked well together and then it's carried on. So that's how I see the GCA is operating. And that's one of the reasons that I love being a part of it, is just book came up. Let's do a book. Oh, okay. So a couple guys went up and started a book, right? And here we are now, published. I'm in the book too. So yeah.
So one of the things we don't have a worry about is financial worries about profit making. So I think that's one of the reasons. Usually organizations fail because of sex and money. Yeah, it's true. And their communities are rife with sexual scandals, as we know, and we don't have that issue, and we don't have the issue of we don't raise funds. We're not a profit-making organization, but we accept contributions for I think it's for educational purposes.
Mm-hmm. Well, and we're a not-for-profit, but doesn't mean we can't raise funds as long as we end up profitless.
Something like that. Yeah.
And we're looking into that too.
That eliminates a lot of possible areas where people could form resentments, because
yeah,
if somebody's getting, for example, if you're on the board of directors, you can't receive any remuneration for anything.
That's right.
And that's why the guys who are on the conference planning committee can be remunerated, but they can't be on the board, although we would love to have them on the board because they're excellent fellows.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe next year,
exactly.
Next conference or whatever. Well, the whole thing, I think Sir Isaac Newton said, standing on the shoulders of giants. And it's absolutely true. The Michael and Dave Allen and Alan and Harry were these giants who were huddled in the corner at Easton Mountain.
Yeah.
And they hatched this plan, and then the conference and all those things. And then along comes Terry, and who I think kind of helped usher in the incorporation and bylaws, which were apparently really painful to come up with because, well, it just sounded like they were.
Yeah,
and
Terry, we hired Terry to help us.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you, it was excruciating.
Yeah. But it was.
And there were many, many, many meetings. And shortly after it was all done, you came along and said you have some questions about the bylaws. And I wanted to pull my hair out.
You pulled mine out instead. I remember you all jumping across the table and said, "Not now."
Not now. No. God.
Okay. Glad
so I'm glad you finally got to take a look at them and make something happen.
Well, I did, and I didn't know this until maybe 6-8 months ago, that Garry likes bylaws. He likes those, he likes that kind of structure. I see the importance in them, and I have an eye for detail, but oh my God, it's kind of tedious. But we actually had fun playing with those and seeing, well, this doesn't fit anymore. Where I was going with the standing on the shoulders of giants was that when I became president after Harry timed out, because we now have time limits and all that, term limits. And then it became really clear that we'd outgrown the original GCA sort of
Mhm.
vibe of we'll make it up as we go. And oh yeah, we've got bylaws, but it's with the corporate seal. We never look at it. We don't know what it is. And so part of what I wanted to do, I guess during my time there, was to scale the organization up so that we could grow and we could provide the service and the support and all those things to grow the membership past 150 and to whatever, and make it a global thing. And so just kind of bringing it, scaling it up, we added some board members because we were seeing our board members were, sort of overtaxed in some ways. And so bringing in some fresh faces and reaching out and encourage, and these committees are great ways for people sort of bite-size trial. Do I want to be involved with this group? And am I interested in this topic? And do I want to be a service? And I know on all those committees, the next board members are probably on those committees.
Yes.
And we have, Jerry, I think, on the call today, and Mark.
Yeah, Jerry and Mark are new board members.
Board members. Matthew was new last year, and
Adam was a board member.
Testing. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so
there's something I wanted to bring up, which is the process that we have for getting our members to make presentations, either writing or at the conference. And it's similar to Easton Mountain, that when we seek teachers, we don't look outside of our community. We look at new people in our community and see if they have some talent that they can present. We're not getting famous people to come here and go blah, blah, blah. And neither is the Gay Coaches Alliance. We have always looked for our members to put on presentations for our conferences. And at the last conference, it was particularly startling because everybody was so young. The age went down, and they were so good and so enthusiastic and so brilliant. And I think it's a model where I'm mentioning this in case any of the members on the call don't know this, that everybody can be thought to be a presenter. And if you don't know how to do it, the Gay Coaches Alliance will actually give you a training. They'll help you.
Yeah. Do not feel you have to do it alone. Let me tell you. And to Tim's point earlier, collaborate with somebody. Put your hand up and say, you know what, I kind of like to do this. Is anybody else interested? I'm a collaborator. So I like, when Tim and I did the bylaws, it was amazing experience. I know all of you are cringing about bylaws, but it was an amazing experience because I love Tim and I knew what he was acting in the best interest. So was I. He was transitioning off, I was transitioning on, and we just had something common to work on. It really, I know it's crazy. It was fun. Bylaws can be fun.
Yeah.
Where's Jeff? I'm going to make him do it at the end of his term.
And
the end of my term as I cycle off. Besides
your GCA membership, you too have been very active in local coaching communities, particularly ICF. I don't know if Tim is still involved in that. You were.
He's the president. He's the president of ICF North Texas.
See?
Yep.
North what?
North Texas.
Texas.
Howdy.
And you, Garry?
I was the president of the Toronto chapter for about 6 years, and then I was on the international board for 3.
I think that this organization, kind of, let me pick up on, it's unique. I've never seen anything quite like it. I've been parts of professional organizations before, but it's unique in that it is a friendly group. And you can bring, within reason, if something isn't fully baked, or if it's a concept or an idea, you can bring it to the group, and maybe even frame it up that way if you want to, but get feedback on it. And I did that on at least a couple of times because I wasn't sure what I had, and it was helpful to me to present it And I think it brought value to the men who came to the sessions. I'm thinking about the conference now. But it is a great place to play in Peoria before you go to Broadway. Give it a try with a friendly audience. And we also, to help get ready for conferences, we were doing not Shark Tank, but Think Tank. And we were having calls. It was a little underutilized, but we did get some people who came on with, I have this idea. And then one of us, maybe on the program committee or something, would be on there, and we would sort of almost coach them and say, well, so say more about this. And plus give them some guidance on, here's what probably would sell best at the conference to this group. Think of your audience, that kind of thing. And it's been awesome to see other people grow and flower and show up bigger each time. And I've made such great friends all over the world. And this is one of that conference and this call each month at this odd hour is they're kind of my go-to things, the things that are on my calendar. And it's just that important.
Yeah, no kidding. I see a great question from Jerry. And I think we should all answer this, guys, is what do you see as a future vision for the organization? Harry, what were you? Yeah, I was gonna invite you to go first.
Because I've already thought about it, and I wrote an essay in the book. And by the way, there are 10 copies of this book on sale at the bookstore at the Mountain. You can't hear me.
Yeah. Okay. You're
can
back.
You hear
now.
me?
Yeah. You're back now.
Okay. We have 10 copies of the book in our store at Easton Mountain, so it's for sale.
Nice.
And I've thought about this because we have people who have said, why don't we open the GCA to this or that or this or that? And the way I see it is in the 60s, women discovered the power of a movement when they came together and held together, that something could be created, and they didn't have to, they were in men-free space. And we all honored that, because the minute a guy walks in, they change. Something shifts. That's all. It's just a shift. It's not negative or positive. It's a shift. And I think that the principle of alchemy is that before you combine things, you separate them. And Easton Mountain was founded by gay men. People wanted to open it up. And we decided over and over again, no, we have to learn how to live with each other in great harmony and creativity. And then after that happens, maybe we could do something. But this thing yet, when it's going to explode into some kind of universal healing or universal witnessing or prophecy, or something is going to happen as long as we hold this together. And I would welcome going to a conference where there were 50 gay coaches and 50 lesbian coaches and 50 trans coaches. I think that in itself could change the world. Thank you.
Thank you.
We've had that, a very sort of a very deep, heartfelt kind of conversations around this. And I think, and there's been some hurt feelings about it, in that, who are we to exclude? Not.
Yes.
And I don't think that is really, that hurt, I think, everyone's heart, to think, are we hurting feelings? Are we excluding? And I think where we landed was the distinction of it's about focus, not exclusion. And it's about men doing their work together, important work that is messy, and we're not done yet. And Mankind Project, There are other, Body Electric has men's, as a women's, and all people. So they're kind of ahead of us on this, but it feels like that it's our space. And for now, it's like we're not in post-racial, we're not in post-gay, because we could get married in the US.
For now.
For now. Yes, for now. So there's still lots of work to do, and there's still lots of work that we need to do on ourselves and with each other. So I'm with you, Harry. I think having a lesbian or trans and other coaching conferences, groups, things like that to partner with, and who's to say we one day wouldn't get over this and all come together.
And still have the GCA for our little corner of happiness.
We
Yeah.
still are mostly white, mostly old,
Yes.
mostly
Bearded, glasses.
So when we see a bunch of 20-year-olds of all colors, I might think, well, this worked. This really worked well.
Yeah.
Well,
And it'll happen because our conference, the last one, I think the average age went down 10. And if I pass away, it'll go down 20. The average age of people there. So remove 80 from the equation.
Well, I love Abraham and all the new thinking, new age metaphysical things about what you focus on expands. And thanks to especially Gary's leadership on this, but others too, some of them calling us out on it, others and others joining in with us of saying, we don't reflect the world. This is really white, kind of old group of gay men, and we're not there. It's a work in progress, but it seems like we've got, we're focusing on it, and that will expand. And for that, I mean, I'm proud of that. I'm proud that this organization recognizes that we got some more to do in that area.
Well, and thanks to both of you for handing off to me the leadership of something that's just, it's flourishing. There's no struggle. That's what I have envisioned for the future, that it continues to go where the energy is, that we continue to work on reflecting others in the world in our organization. And, I mean, I've been doing this work since it was funny. I was at a Association of Coach Training Organizations, ACTO, in BC in 2018. And I think who wrote White Fragility, and she was speaking. And it came up to my ears that I'm a white man of privilege. And I was torn between being like, what? No, I'm just, yeah. And then quickly going to, yeah, I guess I am. And what did that mean to own it and be with it? But I think bigger than that, what it did for me is it had me take a look back and see how other people, other cultural identities perceived me, not because of who I am, but what I represent. So for example, where I live, the nickname is Mrs. India. It's Mississauga, but it's got a huge population of Indian, Pakistani, Middle Eastern, like nobody's business. And after I heard that, I took a look back and I'm like, they were ruled by the British forever. Are they looking at me like their heritage? And, so what, if anything, do I do other than who I am, be myself, but be a bit more observant of my footsteps, I still say. And then that's when I asked if we could have a DEI committee. I don't know if I asked, I just told you, but a lot of these things, it was just where my energy was and still is, and committed to a column called Kaleidoscope and Choice, the DEI, the bylaws, the website. And here's the other beauty is that I'm not committed to being the leader of anything. Nothing will stop because I'm not involved. So the welcome committee has a life of its own, and I'm going to answer that question somebody had about that. The DEI committee, I haven't been to a DEI conference only because I was away moving, stuff like that. And all this stuff is happening. It's like we just shepherd and work with the conversation. We stay with it. You know, I'm going to stay with some of these committees, but I welcome other people to come on board. And so when somebody was asking about, there was a question in there about how do we engage new members, I think it was, hold on. I want to answer that. How do we get members to participate in the way Tim describes? How do we reach out? So that was a question I had and why we started the welcome committee. And we have now, we went through the process. Alan had primary responsibility, I think, and we wrote down some questions, a process rather. We wrote a lovely email, talked about all of the opportunities. So Alan feeds us the information. One of the three of us reaches out, offers. Some of us have had calls with those people. And now we have a new member. Oh, it might even be somebody here, but I won't say until I remember, who wants to create a buddy system. So that somebody like us, Harry, Tim, Gary, all you guys that have been here for a while, buddy up with somebody that's just in the organization and says, oh, don't forget there's a meeting, or are you going to come, or are you going to the conference? You know, that kind of thing. I'm like, I was thinking it, but my energy wasn't 100% for that, to do it myself. But here's somebody who's like, I want to do this. I'm like, come on board, let's do it. And that's how we operate. That's how I envision. I don't envision massive change. You know, we talk about, we didn't have a strategic plan, and you notice there was no energy for that. That kind of went like this. That's because that's not who we are. We're a bunch of guys that like to get together with like-minded gay men. Coaching happens to be another thing we have in common, to just do shit together. Like doing the bylaws, who actually signs up for that stuff, right? But it needed doing. I had an energy for it, and I said yes. Could have been just easily been Harry. Hardly.
What did Alan just wrote something.
Let's see. Another cool idea I'd like to see working on coaching supervision groups.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. Yeah, I'm sure Jeff might want to do some. I think that came up actually, didn't it, in a board meeting?
Well, I think Matthew had suggested at one time special interest groups, and we all said, yeah, it's a great idea. And then, but the energy wasn't there yet.
Yeah.
So to this point, maybe the timing is everything. This book, actually 2017 is when the idea came up at the conference. Jim Lapatis and several of us got, yeah, we should do that. Nothing happened. He wasn't up for leading it. It was just the time wasn't right. But came 2019, came up again.
Right. Yeah.
And the timing was right. And then three of us who'd left the room were put in charge of it. And happily just so. And it takes a while to do it. It takes energy to do that. But we formed up, and then more than 20 of you all got together, some of them co-authoring, did some really good work. And I'm just so proud of this, of this content. But the timing wasn't right. Although things seem to be moving faster now. Since we've got more people, there's more energy. Yeah.
And I think you've set up the future by stating that now we have a process. We're a bit, we've kind of done it. So, it shouldn't be so hard the second time around. And I know that feeling. So, when are we wrapping? Because I have a coaching call at the bottom of the hour. Just saying.
We wrap at the bottom of the hour, I believe.
Well, you'll see me
but
gone. My tail will be gone before that.
You lot can wrap whenever you want to wrap.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, I want to see if there were any more questions that we didn't
Yes.
answer. Thank you, Michael. He's gone. And Monica left. She had to go to another commitment. Yeah. You know, to Alan's question, if anybody sees anything, like we're not hiding in an ivory tower. Like we all became a member, did this, did that, you know, may have been part of an ICF, may not. So here's my part to play in the presidency, and Tim helped me get started on this. He reminded me, we're setting up a legacy system. And right now we're starting with a past president, a current president, and a president-elect, so that there's no last minute, everybody knows what's going on, everybody's a part, and they float along for those 3 years until they're off. Unfortunately, Tim ran out of time. His term was up, and we got rid of him. He was done. And
Yes.
we're hoping to do that at all the committees as well, so that nobody gets committee fatigue, board fatigue, you know, no resentment, things like that. I want it to still be fun, like the conferences, fun. Oh yeah, I love doing this. This is not work for me. Like, yeah, I get a bit nervous ahead of a board meeting. Did we reach everybody? As you know, is everybody, you know, that sort of thing. But I rely on everybody to be themselves and to bring that great energy, that generosity, and the greatness of heart to everything that we do. And that's my vision for the future of the GCA. It's not about numbers. It's not about, you know, hey, if we raise funds, decide to do that, great. If there's an energy, it's just keep following the energy, keep being of service, keep attracting gay men to our tribe, and yeah, and get together at a conference and have fun. Make that great room bigger so we can have more people. Maybe we could fundraise for that, enlarge the great room.
Did we cover all the questions?
Yeah, maybe as a closing stand. Oh, there we go. There's a good idea. Yay, Jerry. That's why you're on the board, man. Maybe as a closing, one statement for each presenter, their takeaway or final message. I just did mine. Which one of you would like to do the next closing statement?
Harry always has the last word, so maybe I better go.
You better go. Yeah. Yeah. No, never mind, Harry.
Change
Pause.
that. Easily change that.
Yeah, no. It's too late in the game.
My internet connection is unstable.
As long as they're not.
But you're not.
Yeah.
Garry used the word legacy, and it feels like that we have that here. And I mean, we've got, you know, Harry is still very active in this. Michael Cohen came to visit. Dave Allen has come to visit some too, and we're always thrilled that Allen's here. So there's a sense of legacy. This is not a new organization or a new concept, but it's certainly being renewed and reformed all along the way. And so even as we try new things and grow, there's still a through line. And to me, that's really important. I need that kind of thing that I don't find really anywhere else. Much as I love ICF, I'm not feeling it there either. There's just not that, you know, that heart connection with most of that work. It's more professional. So I think, as they say, the 12-step programs that keep coming back, it works.
Until you work it.
Until what?
Until you work it.
Until you work it.
Oh, okay. You always have it. Here, Harry's all about get the work done. Go to work. You guys work. So, and he's right.
That's right. I have in my recovered life have sought community, and I wanted to belong. And in our discussion about diversity and belonging, I said, there's a secret to belonging, and it is join a group and do service. That's the way you belong. And I have learned that through the Body Electric, through Easton Mountain, and through the Gay Coaches Alliance. So what I would hope for the men on this call is we know each other, but not only do we know each other, the three of us and others, but we know each other very deeply. That is what is missing in other organizations.
Yeah.
There's nothing about my character that is hidden, that is negative. You all know what it is, because we show up as we are. So you like me and you like what I do and you accept who I am. Mm-hmm. And I think that is why we are allowed to smile and laugh with each other. That's a legacy.
Yeah. Yes.
Thank you for bringing that to us.
Milo, did you?
Yeah, you were asking for closing thoughts, and I just wanted to share that I think there's something wonderful that happens when gay men come together in the interest of doing good. And I think that's what we're trying to do here. Other groups can do it as well, but it's never quite the same. So I salute what this group is trying to accomplish and the relationships that I see come from interactions like this.
Sweet.
Hey, Matthew, next presenter, look at all like marketing, the whole bit, you know.
He's taking
just
names.
saying, he's taking names. Yeah, got it.
You learn a few things in 18 years, you know.
Yeah.
Someone was saying about the group being old and white. I wasn't sure if you meant the hair, but it's only L'Oreal hiding it, really. Then again, I think maybe I realized afterwards you meant skin color and not the hair.
Well, I thank you so much to our three presidents for everything you've created and everything you've done over the years. Let me just remove the spotlights so you can hopefully see everyone. So this, I discovered the GCA in about 3-4 years ago, and it's felt like a tribe for me ever since then, and it was already there and it's grown bigger, and so I'm incredibly grateful, and I know that everyone else here, whether they've only just joined or they've been here for longer, must feel the same. Does anyone have any, I don't want to go around, there's not really enough time. Does anyone have anything that they would like to bring out from anything that was said? Any closing thoughts from anyone?
You know what? It's something that you just said, Matthew. It was about that we stay the way we are regardless of our size. Like, it speaks to like the love and the energy. That no matter how large we get, we can still feel like it's a small group. That's my wish.
Yeah.
The really interesting thing that I've been sitting here thinking about is the fact that it's almost like you are, and this is so coachy even saying this, but it's almost like you're in a coaching conversation with the whole organization. You're dancing in the moment, that whole thing that you don't know where it's going, you've not got a plan.
Yeah.
That is like, no kidding. You should be on the board. Oh, you are on the board.
Oh, I am.
I know you are. See you Monday.
Yeah, I might be in an airport, but that's another matter. Right, everyone, absolutely wonderful.
Thank you.
To see everyone. I never think it's a bad thing to stop a meeting a little bit early. So I'm going to honor all three of our presidents and past presidents. Thank you also to Alan for making everything run, and thank you to everyone for coming. There is no August meeting, so the next meeting will be on the second Thursday in September.
September
Wow.
14.
Yay.
September 14.
Of course, Alan knows
Um,
that. Like, thanks, Alan.
So make sure you look out for the emails for the link for that and for all the details on that.
And I want to mention, anytime you want to know what's going on the website, there's a button on the front page that says events, and it lists our upcoming calls.
Wonderful, thank you. Milo's run away, so I will be chasing him for presenters. But if there's anyone else on here, I'm one of the people on the
Oh,
programming
well
committee. So if
done.
you're interested, then let me or the other people know, or there's a chat there.
There's a
September
place on the
14th is a
website
Wednesday.
to suggest a presenter. It doesn't mean it has to be you. You could recommend somebody else.
Mhm.
All right. I got to go get ready for my coaching client. See y'all.
See you, bye.
Everyone, thank you
Thanks.
so much.
Thanks, guys.
Great to see you.
Bye, everyone.